Hey everyone, another episode of VDF Farms. Got thinking about a few things, and I'm going to talk about brands. Um, I know quite a few guys out there are brand specific. Uh, Everything's got to be John Deere or Case or whatnot. I have a smorgasbord. I'm not brand specific, especially starting out. You cannot be brand specific starting out. You have to get what's available and what fits in your budget. But I'm going to talk about different equipment I've been on over the years and what I prefer. Um, my uncle, when I did some work for him growing up, he was heavy John Deere. Heavy John Deere. A couple 4630, 4640, 4620, 8630, 4440. He had a 7700, a 4400. All his discs were John Deere. He ran the 7000 series planter. It was John Deere. All of his wagons he painted John Deere. He was heavy John Deere. My great uncle was heavy into Alice Chalmers and International. He ran 3 or 4 2+2s. He had a Gleaner M2 combine he ran for years. My cousin has since gotten away from that now that he's gotten that family farm. He runs kind of a smorgasbord of stuff. I've ran the gambit. Guy I used to bill hay for had a Massey Ferguson combine. He's 4020. John Deere, he was very brand specific about certain things. I have a little bit of everything. I'm kind of partial to the Oliver tractors. I think they're great tractors. I wouldn't even honestly have the Massey if it wasn't for the fact that it was $500, and my son wanted a red tractor, and I needed another tractor, and it just kind of fit. It is kind of growing on me though. Discs, the KBA works great for what I do. I would like a heavier disc that is more of a finishing disc. I think the Oliver plows are a fantastic product. I mean, Oliver Plow Company was well known. They made Ford plows. They made Oliver plows. They made several different brands. I think it's going to be hard to beat an Oliver plow. Planters. I got the 494A. I made a few videos about that. I'm upgrading that. I'm not the biggest fan of John Deere planters. I have looked at getting a Case planter, but I don't know. Maybe it's just my planter. I haven't had the best of luck with it. I am making some upgrades to it, so that's going to help out a lot. My manure spreader, I got the Cockshut. Those are hard to find. I just happen to look out and get it. New ideas are pretty good. So if you can get your hands on a new idea, they're still pretty readily available. You kind of pay for the name on those though. The Gleaner, I have heard a lot of fantastic things about the Gleaner combine. It's kind of why I went with Gleaner. The price was right, and when it comes to cutting corn, which is mainly what I do, I think it's going to be. I've heard a lot of good things. I know my uncle always gave me the 4400 to harvest with, and I have a lot of volunteer corn every year. And he picked corn with it, and he sets it for corn. That is his corn combine. He has two. He has one for corn, one for beans. The 4400 has been set for corn for years. And I'm just not impressed with it. It shoves out so much corn out the back. I can walk back there and find whole cobs. So I'm hoping to alleviate that with the Gleaner. I've heard a lot of good things from not only my cousin who used to run the Gleaner M2, but other farmers that run the gleaners saying that the gleaner with the corn is the way to go. So I don't really have an opinion on that. I know the 4400s, maybe probably because it's old and wore out, is terrible when it comes to corn, and I lose a lot of product out the back. So I will not buy a John Deere combine. I just haven't. I haven't seen them produce what they are. My friend had the Massey. He ran oats with it and everything. He worked great for oats, but he never ran corn through it, so I don't know about that. But you can't be picky when it comes to brands and you're starting out. Get what you can get and work with it. I posted 3 or 4 videos about my 494A planter. You know, the solid fertilizer. It plants great rows. The spacing's great. It's easy to work on. But I was losing so much fertilizer out the screws, and I had it set at a low setting, and brand new, the newest tubes I could get my hands on, and that was just dropping so much fertilizer. It was getting fertilizer in the rows. It was also shoving it out the sides of the box. So I almost got six rows of fertilizer going down for a 4-row planter, and I was losing so much. I ended up having to buy an extra 100 pounds of fertilizer just to get through the field, because I was losing 100 pounds just in 2-3 acres, and that adds up. It's $45-$50 for me to go to. I think it was $50 a bag last time I bought solid fertilizer. Get what you can afford, get what works for you, and then worry about upgrading later. And I see some guys getting brand new tractors. If you can afford it, great. Don't go in debt getting a brand new tractor, though. Another reason I can't stand John Deere, the whole right to repair thing has got me. I want to work on my equipment. So I got the Oliver 1950T. It's got the Waukesha engine in it. Either you have a good block or you don't. It's kind of luck of the draw. We have a good block. I don't know the hours on it, but that Waukesha has been a great engine. I have made a few upgrades to it. The injector boots, I had to do something different with those. I got rid of the boots, put up a different system up there that works pretty good, because those were always cracking on me. I couldn't find quality boots anywhere. Filters I kind of had an issue with. The sock filters, finding those. I ended up doing I got the, there's a company, I can't think of the name. Anyway, they make a spin-on adapter for the engine sock filter. You take the sock filter off, you put this adapter on there, you put a regular spin-on filter on. That's what I'm running on it now. Seems like it's working pretty good. You can also get a better quality filter than the sock filter. But that's pretty, one of the only problems I've had with that. A few hydraulic leaks here or there. But it's been a pretty good tractor. I can work on it. I can go, I had a coolant leak on it last year. No, it was a coolant or an oil leak. Anyway, I needed some weird line, and I ended up going out. It was an oil leak. I ended up going out and getting a pre-made hydraulic oil hose from the tractor store. Slapped it on there and works great. No special tools needed. No special adapters. No special parts. There's 2-3 sensors in there. I got my coolant temp sensor. I got my oil pressure sensor. I got it's got a preheater on it that doesn't work. I haven't looked into that. And a fuel gauge sending unit, which doesn't work. I got to get a new one of those. But it's four sensors tops. Everything else is cable driven. The tachometer and all that's cable driven. It's awesome. I don't have to worry about all this electronic crap. My other main tractor is a Super 55 Oliver gasser, and that thing is just as simple. You know, I got the voltmeter on there. The tachometer's ran by a cable. It's got a oil pressure sensor or an oil pressure gauge with the copper tube on it, and then it's got a coolant temperature sensor, which is a solid piece. You know, 4 gauges, no sensors on that thing, or no wired sensors. They're all either tubed or like the coolant temperature sensor is the one that has the pre-done sensor and the wire already on it. It's like a one-piece deal. Same with the Massey Harris. I don't think there is a single sensor on that thing. You know, I think that thing runs 2 gauges. Yeah, I think it's got 2 gauges. It's got a doesn't even have a tachometer on it. It's got oil pressure and voltage. But it's simple to work on. You know, the gleaner, it does have a few sensors on there just because it's a combine. It's going to have sensors, which is no big deal. Those are pretty easy to find yet. Get something that's easy to work on. You don't have to go get the latest and greatest. If you get any kind of mechanical knowledge or even YouTube knowledge, you can go find out how to repair this stuff. It's pretty universal. You know, the Massey Harris 22, you know, was a 6-volt positive ground when I first got it. It had a generator and everything on there. You know, a little bit of fabrication skills. Was able to make an alternator bracket for it. It's got the original 6-volt starter on there. I know that's, some people say it's bad juju. You're not running the starter all the time. Yes, it probably will burn up eventually. I get it. But you're not running it all the time. Especially as quick as that thing fires up. I posted a video here of me starting it up. I mean, it snaps too and pops right off. It's probably going to outlive the life of that tractor. But you know, I pulled all the wiring out of there and I converted it to a 12-volt negative ground. For those of you who don't know, some of the older equipment, the positive cable on the battery was what was grounded to the frame, and everything ran out the negative terminal. It's called a positive ground system. Half backwards from everything today. Things got changed a while ago for that. They found out especially on vehicles, they found out the positive electrons going through the frame was inhibiting, or not inhibiting, encouraging rust. So they went away from that a long time ago. But 12-volt charging systems, 12-volt systems are so easy to find online. I just did it. You know, I had to rewire the thing anyway. I'm going to rewire it. I'm going to do what I want to do with it. I want to say the 55 was initially the same way when we first got it, and that was rewired years ago by my dad. Excuse me. Get older equipment. I don't have the money to go spend $10, $20, $30, $40,000 on a tractor from Rural King or the John Deere dealership. They have the latest and greatest. It's older stuff. You don't have the comforts there, but it's functional. It works great. It's easy to work on. I can work on it. I don't need a diagnostic computer. I don't need a subscription to anything. I don't need to call John Deere out because I can't change my oil without him anymore. Get something simple. If you can afford to be brand specific, or there's one brand you want to have at it. I'm not a big fan of the John Deere balers. I have a 14T. I wanted to get a New Holland because I have heard nothing but great things about New Holland balers. And I'm sure this is going to start a fight, but people get specific about certain things. New Holland balers around me, even ones in poor non-working condition, are going for $600-700. I picked up that 14T. I think the guy wanted $6 for it. I paid $5 for it, and I went and looked at it before I bought it. I think I got a tire into it. I had to put new chains on it, new timing chains, and then the cast iron flywheel for the knotter was broken. I think I picked it up on eBay for $70-80. So I'm not even counting the paint. I went ahead and painted it. I have this weird thing about if I'm going to put all this work into a piece of equipment, I'm going to have it. I want it to look nice, and painting it prolongs the rust. It extends the life of the equipment. You're protecting your investment. That's how I see it, and I justify it to myself. But it wasn't the one I wanted. It's one I could afford, and for the amount of baling that I do with it, it'll work just fine. I'm not industrial size. I'm not doing 500, 600, 700 bales. I plan on doing enough to feed my cattle, and I'm doing corn stalks. I'm thinking about doing wheat next year, or winter wheat, for some straw and some bedding. So you're looking at 4 or 5 acres a year of baling with that thing. It'll do me just fine. Now, if I ever get the money and that thing goes to hell, yeah, I'm going to look for what I want. But it gets me by. It does what I need it to do. Something else to kind of consider is parts availability for some of this stuff. A lot of the stuff, this older antique equipment, it's getting hard to find parts for. Do a little bit of research, see what parts are out there. You are going to find some brand specific parts you have to have for certain things. Even some of the older equipment, there are certain things that are specific to that equipment that you cannot find. Before I bought the 14T, I looked at it. I went online, I went to eBay, and I looked to see what parts were available for this thing, used parts. And there's quite a bit of new and used parts out there for it. The chain, it was a number 60 and a number 50 chain. I went on Amazon. I got new chains for it. The only thing that was specific I had to buy for it was the flywheel plate. The Alice Chalmers Gleaner. That thing is so versatile. I don't know if there's anything on there that I can't get made or find parts for. It's still readily available equipment. So do a little bit of research before you go off and buy anything. The Massey Harris is kind of where I would say it was my mistake. During the video I talked briefly about some of the issues I had with it, and I got it. The radiator was in poor shape. It had a pretty good hole in the bottom of it. Tried soldering it up, didn't work. I ended up taking it to a radiator repair shop, and they're a well-known radiator repair shop. It is like the place to go around here. I've used them before, Families used them before. The facility I work for, they've used them before. Everybody's like, go to this place. It's like the one in the company. It's family owned in the area. It's the one in the area to go to. And it took them 2 weeks before I got it back. And the guy apologized. He goes, I spent literally a week trying to find even a used one for you. He goes, I could not find. He took dimensions. We ended up having to get it recorded. That's what killed me. I think I paid $500 for the tractor. I got $550, $575 just in the radiator recording it. So not that much out there for it. Any other model out there, the 44s you can find parts for still. The ponies you can find parts. For some reason the 22 was not that popular. So that one kind of bit me, but at that point I had already spent money rebuilding the engine. I'd already had tires put on it. I'd already gotten everything done. I was so far into this thing that I wasn't going to throw it all away. But now I don't have to worry about it. It's a pretty sound tractor. Do some research. Don't be brand specific. When you're starting out, get what you can get at a reasonable price. A lot of people don't really need them too much, but like my fertilizer spreader, that thing was I paid $100 for it. It was literally rotted wood and a metal frame, and that thing I had to go through and cut all the bolts off, sanded everything down, painted all the metal on it. And I had to get all new wood, and it was, I think it was in such bad shape, I didn't know where half the stuff went. It took me a while just to get the placement of everything right. You know, so I have probably $300-400 and a few months of work into that thing. But it just goes to show, if you have the knowledge of how to repair things, if you're persistent and you have a good spirit and a good thought about it, you can do a lot with little or nothing. That's my take on being brand specific. I personally think it's silly. I've yet to find a manufacturer that makes one good thing across the board. You know, usually, John Deere, they make good discs. I like their discs. Don't like their combines. Gleaners, I think they make great combines, from what I've heard. I'm not a big fan of their tractors. I'll say it, especially that whole power drive clutch. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of their tractors. Play around a little bit, find out what you like, and get what works for you. So that's my little rant. That's my little talk. I've already been talking about it long enough. I think we're on almost 22 minutes now. Just if you guys got any questions or comments or concerns, shoot me a message. I see I've gotten a few views on a few other videos. I'm probably going to keep doing this, but some feedback would be great about what you guys want to see, what you guys want to hear, any questions you might have about anything, any of my equipment. Just keep at it, don't give up, and keep trying to farm. You have a good one.